Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, and double honors to our elders and apostles, a great millstone that taught us this truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful like Akim, teaching and preaching this truth with all righteousness and sincerity. This is Akia Wasap. Today's lesson is entitled, The Hand of Everyone Who is Troubled Will Come Against Him. And Lord willing, you be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, which are the true names of the Heavenly Father and His beloved Son in the Paleo Hebrew. And as always, the sit-downs, the lessons, the street speaking is for the remnant, the elect, the Israel, the Most High, to you as the gospel preached. And shalom to the Akim on the comment board. So today, I have this article from Democracy Now! About this event that took place a few days ago at this warehouse out here in California, where a man allegedly sets fire to a tissue paper warehouse, and the reason being is that they wasn't getting paid enough to live. All right, and when I saw this, I thought about Job, the 20th chapter and the 22nd verse, which is where we get the title of this lesson from, but it's in a different version. So I'm gonna start off with the precept, going to this article, and of course, you know, our focal point on these lessons is prophecy, awareness, and getting prepared for this time of trouble that we're in. So this is Job, which he was an Israelite, all right, one that was upright and that eschew of evil. And it's a lot of prophecies in these chapters. So Job 20:22, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he's addressing Esau as he's getting to the point where he wants to come down with great wrath. He wants to fulfill his enterprise with causing all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive implantable technology under the skin. That's his sufficiency. He shall be in straits, all right? Because as he's trying to microchip everybody, he has to deal with the war intensifying in the Middle East, right? Which the scriptures talk about a third woe, which we understand it to be the third world's woe, World War III. That's the straits he's going to be in. He can't buy himself out of the judgment there in the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of decision, as the scriptures call it. All right. This is where Esau is going to see his end. It says, here's a point. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. So leading up to his destruction. All right. Every hand of the wicked, which in another translation, it says, where are we at? LSB, Legacy Standard Bible. The hand of everyone who is troubled will come against him. And that's what we're seeing. Are people that's in economic straits, people that have experienced the American lifestyle and culture changing. You know, they're in these different economic troubles. They're in these situations where their homes is being foreclosed. They're getting taxed. Gas is expensive. Food is expensive. Life is expensive. People is now looking at these Edomites, all right, and looking at them as if they're the problem, which they are the problem. The scriptures speak about the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So Esau is so-called white man, he has the earth in his control, which is prophecy that he will have it. But the way he's ruling is contrary to righteousness. Okay? And people was seeing that. And over the years, starting off with our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, we've been talked about how these devils is wicked. You know, we seeing now, let me see something real quick. When you go to YouTube, let me see. Let me go to the history real quick. So I was watching these videos last night. Okay, I might have been watching it on my other one. Dee's African Perspective, right? So this woman, cool woman, she's like a Benjamin Knight or a Levite, and she pretty much collects these videos from Instagram and TikTok, and she make a series of videos. She take a series of videos, put them all in one, and then there's these rants. So on one hand, you got the job market is so bad, people are giving up, and then corporate jobs give the illusion of stability. That was a month ago. Now let me see something. She did a video. Damn, was it taken down? Unwatched. It was a video that she had. Oh yeah, this warehouse fire has everyone arguing. Nobody can afford kids. So people are experiencing these troubles, and people are blaming the ruling class elites. All right. They blaming capitalism. They blaming all these different avenues Esau have benefited off of. And eventually these people are going to rise up against these elites. So as it says here in Job 20:22, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Once again, when you read this in another translation, LSB, Legacy Standard Bible, the hand of everyone who is troubled will come against him. Now, when you further go into this word wicked here, which this is the Blue Letter Bible, which allows you to go into the language the Bible was translated from to get a deeper understanding of what's written. But the blue letter does go off. So you do have to eat the meat and spit out the bones. This word wicked, when you go into the Strongs, goes back to the Hebrew word aimal. And it says here, laborer, sufferer, wretched one, workman. So the workman, all right, it's gonna come up against these elites. And we're seeing it happening now. All right, now whether this is staged, because I'm seeing certain things, I'm seeing the number 6. All right. $6 million warehouse fire, and allegedly it was 6 people injured. That's the number of the beast. That's Esau. That number is associated with Esau. Okay. But the point is, this guy that did it says all you had to do was pay us enough to live. And that lines up perfectly with prophecy, because the laborer, the wretched one, the workman, the one that's troubled in this economy, all right, is coming up against Esau. All right. Let's read a little more. It says, where worker sets fire to California paper warehouse. It says in Southern California, a 20-year-old warehouse worker is being held without bail after his arrest in connection with a massive, 6 alarm fire. You see what I mean? 6 alarm fire, right? Then it's 600 million warehouse fire. And then on another report, it was saying 6 people injured. So I don't know, man. But continuing on, it says a massive 6 alarm fire at a paper products warehouse east of Los Angeles. Tuesday fire in Kimberly Clark warehouse completely destroyed the 1.2 million square foot facility, causing an estimated 600 million in damages. Prosecutors say it was started by Kamel Abdul Karim. All right, this sounds like a Syrian or something, or Iranian. Let's look him up. See if we got any images. All right, remember Esau? The beard, he demonizes the beard. Okay, when you watch these movies, the guys with the beards is the bad guys. The guys with the clean shaven faces, the good guys. So this could be, I'm just speculating, man. This could be psyop, but the reaction is the same, whether it's real or fake. Esau getting the reaction that he wants. All right, which is people to uproar. A lot of these low-hanging fruits, these cats that have that energy of, oh, I know, huh? Meaning They hearing about the corruption, they hearing about the capitalism, and they affected as well. And people want to rise up, and they have that spirit of, I know, huh? I should do the same. I know, huh? That's right. That is true. Those type of cats, you know, those are the people that's gonna be out here seditioning, rioting, and the Lord is gonna be having them get mowed down and destroyed. But this dude, it says, who allegedly texted a coworker afterward, comparing himself to Luigi Mangione, which is another figure that's looked at as a man that did something right. You can look it up. It says the alleged killer of the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. So you got this guy Luigi. He kills the United Healthcare CEO because of how expensive healthcare has been. All right, so these is two examples of people coming up against Esau, and these Edomites in these high positions. A SoCal media video appears to show this guy using a lighter to set fire to paper products while criticizing corporate greed and inadequate pay. And there's a quote from Camille: all you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to, it says bleep. So I guess he wanted to say fucking live. All right. And that's causing people to, have this mindset of, fuck these people. Because people's going to eventually detach from the system. But Esau, he's going to have, some type of economic collapse happen to where people, the only way people can have their life is to take the technology under their skin. Now, I'm going to go to James, the 5th chapter, which James, or Yaquab in the Hebrew, this was Yahushai's brother. It says, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl, for your miseries thou shalt come upon you. The prophecies, the second death. All right, these devils getting that's outside of America getting round up, thrown into pits. Isaiah 24. Matter of fact, let's get a little bit of that. This is the misery that's gonna come upon these devils. Isaiah 24:21, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the hosts of the high ones that are on high, the global elites, the shadow government, the bankers, the oligarchy, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered into the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days they shall be visited. This is the misery that they're finna experience, because these elites, the hosts of the high ones who are on high, they're not going to die in the second death, this thermonuclear destruction that's going to come to Babylon the Great. They're going to be hiding in underground bunkers in these areas outside of America. And then they're going to get, as it says here, they're going to be gathered together as prisoners are gathered together in a pit. They're going to get arrested. All right, y'all devils love arresting Israelites, which, as it is written, from among my people are found wicked men. A lot of the times it's justified, but that what a man soweth is that what he shall reap. He pushed the vibration of throwing people into slammers and jail and rounding people up. Well, they gonna experience it, and this is the misery that's gonna come upon them, and shall be shut up in prison, and after many days they shall be visited. So back in James 5:1, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for the miseries that shall come upon you. These prophecies gonna come to pass. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. All right. All these riches that they've accumulated through history is all through corruption. Let's go into this word corrupt. Corrupt, going back to the Greek sapo, to make corrupt, to destroy, to become corrupt. All right, because the money that we use isn't real money. It's not backed by gold. It's fiat currency, and it can change, and it will change. All right, because the standard is going to be, like it says in Revelation 13 and 16, that in order to buy and sell, you got to have that technology under the skin. All right. And it's going to be digital money, which is full of corruption because that can be taken from you. You know, just them signing on to a tablet. They could just freeze your account, disable your chip. You know, you owe the IRS, you owe somebody, they could just snatch the money from you. All right. But the way they got in their wealth was through corruption, finessing people. Your gold and silver is cankered, rusted, and the rust of them shall be a witness unto you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. This corruption is going to lead to their death. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. Here's the point. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you, kept back by fraud. So the laborers that's working these different companies and these corporations, running these businesses, they're paid. They're not getting paid what they're supposed to get paid. Their wages is kept back by fraud. They tax the hell out of your pay. They tax the hell out of everything. They tax your check. And then when you go and spend your money, that's getting taxed. So it's just, you constantly being taxed. You're being defrauded. Then when you do your taxes, here it is, they can snatch the money instantly out your check. But then when it's time for them to run it back, they telling you 4 to 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? It says, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, the employees of these jobs and corporations, which is of you, kept back by fraud. They not getting paid what they supposed to pay, crieth. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, the Lord of armies. So the Lord hears these cries. All right. Everyone's working. So why is everyone broke? These videos, the Lord hear these cries. And most of these people are today and also went broke today. And these people are Israelites. These are the Israelites of the Bible. Even this woman, she's probably of the Northern Kingdom. All right, they're crying, they're sighing and crying for all the for the abominations. You know, the harsh reality of saving money. These are all Israelites. Now they may not be in the truth, but the Lord is hearing these cries. Mostly women. Man, you women is finna be asked out, man. But the Lord got a solution for you. But you got to humble yourself. All right. Isaiah 4:1 is going to be the solution for you women. But these laborers is crying out. And these cries is going to lead to them doing stuff like this, burning shit down. All right. And once that happens, all hell gonna break loose. This is 2nd Esdras 15. We always in 2nd Esdras 15. But 2nd Esdras 15 and 12, Egypt shall mourn. This is addressing America, which is spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Revelation 11 and 8, the great city. And the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it, the fire. All right. We read in James. It says, they that till the ground shall mourn, the farmers, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, these these destructive natural events, whether it's extreme heat advisories and extreme heat temperatures, or blistering cold, all these different things destroy the crops. You got Terminator seeds, they only able to use them once, but then the land, you can't use that land to grow other crops, and then they getting financially put in straits due to the oil and the farmer's diesel going up and being expensive. So this is a plague. And with the fearful consolation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. So right now, people is coming up against their employers, CEOs, the rich men. You know, they're not getting paid. They saying all you had to do was pay us enough to live. You know, they're going to go from that, and they're going to see that these places still ain't going to pay you. All right. Meanwhile, you can go to the store and your damn yogurt on Monday was 60 cents each. You go back the next day, the shit then went up $1.20. They just go up 100% on stuff. Meanwhile, your pay ain't moving up at all. You know, people are seeing that, and people is getting fed up, especially with the president administration not making any changes. People's gonna eventually, as it says here, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. People gonna start going out here with weapons, all right, getting what they want, fighting each other, civil unrest, which is what the elites want. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. People's going to say, to hell with these governors, the presidents, the mayors, you know, the police. They all in on it. They all against us. And they're going to go out on these streets, and they're going to raise hell. All right, this is Jacob's trouble. A man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able. And the fruit of these actions is going to lead to shutdowns and lockdowns, curfews, zones. You can't leave this zone. You can't leave that zone. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And what about these women? Women like this that you see on your screen. What about her? If men is going to be afraid, what about this woman? She's already crashing out because she ain't making enough money. All right. What about her? You know, she's over it. It's going wild. What about when it ain't no money to make and it's just lawlessness out here? Motherfuckers walking around with swords and weapons and guns and bats in their hand. And men is being afraid. All right, you women is going to want to come up under the vibration of a man of the Lord, because that's where the protection is going to be. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. If people are burning down factories and killing healthcare CEOs because they're not making any money, what about if there isn't any food? It's going to be worse than this. The whole cities is going to be up in flames. But this is what the elites want, because out of chaos, there's a solution. All right. So just want to report on that. Let me see. Brother put something down. Let's see. Brother Dawadah Shalom, bro. Talked to some Edomite woman my age, and they were openly Confederate against the Tiny Tops, the people over there. But they got to be hushed because of their conservative parents. These younger Edomites not going for it. Yeah, they got a different, it's a different spirit. All right. And these Edomites, these regular Edomites, they finna be out here revolting. All right, coming up against each other. Esau is a house divided. Now, amongst the Edomites, you got different tribes, just like the Israelites. So you got the small hats. That's Amalek. Amalek is Esau's grandson. All right. Amalek today is the people over there in the land. And that's Esau's chosen people. So you got these regular Edomites, they not in on the deal like the people over there in that land. They not getting the benefits. They're not getting the perks. They not reaping from what they the chosen people of their nation getting. So there's a divide in Esau's house, and they gonna kill one another. They're gonna come up against each other. All right. So I just want to speak on this, man. Just growing trouble, man. All right, bros that work in these warehouses and all this stuff, man, start getting like that. Get up out of there, you know. Because on one hand, they were saying how, yeah, that's right. Come up against these places. They need to pay us more. And on the other hand, you have people saying, man, people are losing their jobs. The job they worked at, the facility got burned down. Now they don't have nowhere to work. So, you know, the rabbit hole gets deeper. So I'm going to leave it at that. Lord willing, you are edified on the Sabbath. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash, and double honors to our elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us the truth. Shalom, Akim, stay strong, stay watching.